Heidi ho, my crafty friends. This is Lori at the Ladybug Journals. How are you today? I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're staying warm and you're having a great time playing in your journal. And I hope you've made a little planner like I did. Now, I haven't got the front of my planner decorated yet, and I'm sure I will, but I've been a little busy, and I took the time over the weekend to spend some time with my hubby, and we just kind of, vegged out and really didn't do much of anything. So we just kind of hung out. So I wanted to just kind of show you what I've done on the inside and some things I did on the outside. So I added some book corners because this is going to be wandering around the house with me and, all that kind of stuff. And then on the inside, I added my inside pocket. And I added some lace. And this was kind of an eyelet lace. Let me move my hot tea here. Let me show you what the top of it looks like. It looks like this. And I just took 2 different colors of twine. And I sewed between that little hole and then between the holes with the twine and kind of made this little, let's see, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's just like a little trim up here. And then I glued the fabric to cardstock back there. Can you see the cardstock? To kind of make it a little firmer. And I haven't decorated it yet, like I said, and then I glued it down, but I will be decorating it. And then in the back, I haven't added my pocket in the back yet, but I will be. I'm going to be adding, I think, a lace pocket in the back. I needed all of my fabric to dry all the way before I added anything in the back. So I couldn't decide if I wanted to add a lace pocket or if I wanted to add some other type of pocket to the back of it. I just wasn't sure what I wanted to add, so I just decided I was going to let everything dry before I got into anything else. So then I got my calendar written down. I got some notes written. There's my sticky note for today's video. We're going to make our idea book. And there are no other things that are happening today. The idea book and then ephemera for the idea book. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. And then here's some other notes. Now, I also made a little notebook that goes in my pocket. This little notebook sits up here in my pocket. And when I get ideas, I grab this little notebook and I just start jotting things down. Because I get a lot of ideas. And this is what was all over my sticky notes that I kept losing because I would start writing notes, on these little sticky notes like this. And I would fold them and I would twist them. And then the sticky, sticky on sticky notes is just not very sticky. And I would try sticking them together. And it just wasn't working, you guys. So I needed something to keep it all of my ideas together. So the idea book was there. And then a pocket video, a folio journal, and then how I was going to do it. And then for February, an ephemera video, and just on and on and on and on and on. And finally, I just had to quit because I thought my brain was going to explode. So this sits up here in my pocket like that. So, when we travel, or if I'm sitting out, cutting, fussy cutting or something, I take that little notebook with me out to my chair, and then when I get an idea, I write it in there. Now, I did make a little charm to hang off of here, and of course I've lost it. See, that's why I don't make it until I'm finished with it. I did make a little charm with some bees on it. And it's around here somewhere that I wanted to show you. I'll find it. And, but I took it off so I could work on it. All right, so let's get started on our idea book. So this is my book. It's just a regular old book that I gutted. And it's a bigger book than I normally use. Well, I wasn't going to fill my pages completely up to there. So what I did was I took an 8.5 by 11 page and I folded it in half. And I said, this is the size of page I want to use. I'm not going any bigger than this because I'm not adding to it. So I took this page. I took an 8.5 by 11 inch page. Now, if you're not in the U.S., I think your pages are a smidgen bigger than us. So whatever your page size for whatever country you're in, fold that page in half, and that's the size that you need, or cut it down to 8.5 inches tall to 11 inches long total, if that's the size that you want to make your book so it's just like mine. After it's folded in half, center it in your spine. Okay, that's what I did. I centered it and decided this is normally where I punch my holes. Okay, after I centered it, that's normally where I punch my holes. And that's where I chose to put my signatures. Okay, does that make sense? If that does not make sense, leave me a comment and I will try to explain it better to you. I centered my signatures within my spine. Okay, I centered them this way. I got them centered this way, a couple of inches down on both sides. Okay, because I know that this book is going to get big and fat. With everything we're going to add in it, it's going to get big and fat. Not immediately, but over time, your book is going to get big and fat. Just because of all the ideas and the ephemera that you're going to add to it, it's going to be a chunky monkey. Okay? So don't worry about it. That's what idea books are for. That's just the purpose of them. Okay? So after you've centered it, decide where you're going to put your holes. Now, my holes always go in the same place. And I've told you this. My bottom hole goes roughly 1.5 inches up, or 1.25 inches up from the bottom. Okay? 1.25 inches up from the bottom. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not correct. It roughly goes 1 inch up from the bottom of the page. Okay? And the top hole goes roughly 1 inch down from the top of my page. I'm measuring from the top of my page and the bottom of my page. They're roughly 1 inch down from my pages, from the edge of my pages. Okay? I don't go any further. Because if I have envelopes or small pieces of paper, things like that, I want to make sure that I catch them and that my signatures aren't wiggly jiggly. Okay? So I measure down 1 inch from the top and 1 inch up from the bottom. If you choose to do more, that is completely up to you. You can do as far down as you want. I wouldn't do any further than 1.5 inches. Okay? Now, after you've done that, I just showed you in the planner video, and I will link that if you haven't seen it. It's the one that went out on Monday. Go pop over and watch it. How to punch the holes. Okay? Pop over and watch the Making My Planner video, and you will see how I punch the holes for the signatures. I did the exact same thing for these signatures. See the holes? in the signatures, I did the exact same thing. The exact same thing. I punched the holes in my signatures the exact same way every single time. Okay? Now, for my book, I have 4 signatures. So I took my paper. Here's my measurement. Can you see my pencil? Okay. I took my paper and I measured it, the spacing that I wanted right here. Right there. I measured the spacing that I wanted. And then I measured 1/4 inch increments all the way across my paper. Because to get equal spacing, I needed 1/4 inch increments for 4 signatures. If your book only has 3 signatures, you can fold it and do exactly like we did in the My Planner video. Okay, you can do it exactly like we did in that video. Follow that video for your spacing of your signatures. If you have 4, do it like this one. You want 1/4 inch increments across. Okay? So there are 2 options for spacing of your signatures. Okay? Does that make sense? Now, then I had to use paper clips to place this in. And I made sure that it was in place. Now this one, I had to make sure that it was where I wanted it. And just like in that one, you have to make sure that when you pull up your side of your book, that your signature isn't going to encroach on your book board on your sides. Okay, so you have to make sure, you have to wiggle it and jiggle it around. And let me show you. You have to look in the top and make sure that it's not touching the edges. Okay? And you just kind of move it around with your fingers to get the spacing that you want. Can you see in there? To get the spacing that you want, you just kind of wiggle it and jiggle it around to get however you want. And it's right there at my line on both edges. So I just got it where I wanted, and then I paper clipped it down. Okay? Now I marked T for top, just like I showed you in the other video. I'm going to move this out of the way. And then I took my awl and I punched through my holes right through my book. And I'm going to turn my book over and show you. Right through my book. See? See the bigger holes? Right through my book. Let me get my awl here. Here's my awl. And I punched right through my book. Okay? I punched it right through. And when I sew my signatures in, I'm going to sew them right into the book. Okay? Now, I have a few things that I want to show you, but that's what we're going to do first. So I've punched my signatures. And I'm going to go on and sew this in because it's going to get covered up here first thing. I'm going to glue this in. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sew it in right now. We're not going to sew yet. I'm sorry. My brain is just not functioning at this particular moment for some reason. I'm going to line this up with my holes because I've moved it. Silly woman. And in a minute, you're going to see my head. And I do apologize for that because you're probably going to see my gray hair. There it is. I wanted to glue that to glue that in. And now that I think about it, it's not going to do me much good because I'm not going to see it, am I? But I think I need that little bit of support. Maybe not, though. Nah, maybe not. So I don't think I'm going to. Okay, so I've got these punched all the way across. I want to go on and cover these panels. Do I want to cover the inside first? No, Lori, you do not, you ding dong. What did I do? These are my signatures. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. My brain is not working well. This is what I want to do. I want to put this on. Okay. So I want to cover this around my stitching, because I don't want to stitch through this, because I want to write on here with my jelly pen, and I'm thinking I might want to wait and write on this first, because that jelly pen's going to have to dry, and I'm thinking I might go on and write on it first. Let me get my jelly pen out. Let me get a hold of it. And see which one I've started using already. Well, it's not that one. One of these I have marked that I've already started using. Is it this one? Or maybe it's this one. Ah, it's that one. Okay, so I want to write on here. Where did that come from? I want to write just in my handwriting, which is, who knows what that's going to look like today. Idea book. And as you can tell, these are just doodles. So I guess I don't care how it looks today. Ooh, this pen is kind of skippy. There. And I might come back underneath and, and add some of these little squiggles and stuff, but I need to let this dry because I can't write up here. So that has to dry. There. Before we can... There we go. Oh, you know what? I think I might add some of my little doodle flowers that I like to draw. Let's add some of those. And let's maybe add one up here. Oh my. This pen is really not liking this paper. There, I'm just going to doodle inside my doodle. There we go. They look like, I think these look like little fish. There, and I might add some more hearts or something later. But that's kind of fun. There. Okay, so we're going to let this dry. And now we're going to go on and we're going to work on the rest of our book. And then we'll come back and we'll glue this after this gel pen has dried. So I'm going to set this aside over here. Now, let's work on this. So on the inside, before I cover the front part, we want to add a little flip pocket. Okay? So I'm just grabbing a scrap piece of paper. Okay, this is just a scrap piece of paper. And I want to put it right here. Now, it's a little bit too big, so we're going to have to cut it off. So let me grab, hold on a second. I need to grab my paper cutter here. Whoops-a-doodles. Sorry about that. Things are flying everywhere. Okay. Okay. So I want this to be a little pocket. And, actually, this might even work. This might even work. So, oh no, this piece is going to come off. So this little piece won't work. But we're going to save that. So, this little piece might be a nice little flippy pocket. Okay, maybe not. We're going to use this. All right, so let's cut this. So I want to say hello to the new subscribers that we have. And you guys, I looked this morning. So let me tell you what happened. So over the weekend, I guess it was Friday or Saturday, I got a message that a viewer, I don't know if she's a subscriber, she was not happy with a video. She was not happy at all. She said that the 1 minute I spent looking at a button was a waste of her time, and she turned off the video. Well, I was very sorry to hear that. So, I told her, thank you for watching. Okay, so on this side here, I think I want to put a piece of our gray. So let's see, is this piece big enough? No, of course it isn't, silly gray. But this piece might be. All right, so let's make this a little bit bigger of an attachment then. So I didn't think anything about it, and we went on with our weekend, and I answered questions that I got over the weekend, and which is normally what I do. Any questions I get over the weekend, I answer them. And but I don't work on the weekend. I don't make videos. I don't do anything like that. There we go. Because Saturdays and Sundays are family time. So I got on this morning. Now, Friday, after I finished working and made the video on my planner, when I looked at my subscriber count, it said I had 780 something subscribers. Okay, well, it's been that number now for some time. Now, did I put that on upside down? I certainly hope not. Is this the top? Which one's the top? Did I glue that closed, you guys? I didn't. I was getting worried. It said I had 780 something, which has been that number for some time. So I got on there this morning, right before I started recording, to see if I had any questions that I needed to take care of. And you guys, all of a sudden, there are 791 or 792 subscribers. Oh my gosh, you guys. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But I only have notice of one new subscriber. So, YouTube, I want to know how my numbers have changed. But I want to thank you guys for sharing the videos and for letting others know. There we go. And for just letting other people know that we're here and we're having some fun. Okay, so now we have this little flip pocket. So what are we going to do? We're going to add our notch at the top. Now, if you wanted to have a bigger notch than what I have, by all means, have a bigger notch. You can do that. Now, this is going to be your first idea in your idea book. Okay? Your first idea. Now, in your idea book, what you do after you add an idea, you write on the item where you saw it and how you did it. Or, this is going to be pretty obvious. Okay? So this, it is upside down. So this is going to have to go in the back. It's going to go like this. And we're going to actually do one because I did it backwards. This is going to go in the back. Like this. Okay? This is going to go on the back panel. And I pray to the Lord above that I did not just cut a back panel. And I think I just did. Oh, good heavens, Lord, you ding dong. Okay, that was supposed to have been a back panel I just cut. Good Moses. All right, let's cut this one. I should have kept them separate. Good golly Moses. I think this is my center panel. Yes. So let's keep everything separate. Oh, gosh. That is quite aggravating when I do something like that, you guys. Now, I'm just covering mine with paper. My idea book with paper. You can cover yours with fabric. You can cover yours any way you choose to cover yours. It does not matter. Okay, so one of these is the back panel, and one of these is now the front panel. Good gracious. Okay. And I really wanted this up front. Okay, if you really want your flip pocket up front, and you've done just like I did, cut that off, flip it, and make this the top. That's the easiest way to do it. Okay, that's my centerpiece. That one goes up front. This one goes in the back. That's my pocket. Okay, so up here, that one's going to go there like that. And I want to show you guys how to do a flip up. Okay. So to do a flip up, we're going to take this piece and you're basically going to do the same as that one. Okay. You're going to take your piece of paper and you're going to give it your hinge. Okay. Now, my paper is single paper, so I'm going to fold this up. And you can make these as big or as small as you choose. Okay. And it's going to go like this. So I need to glue this paper together. And to do these on your inside panels, just add some, some fun to your book, to any journal that you're making. It just adds some fun before you ever even, open your book and get started. It just adds a lot of fun. So now this part gets glued to this part. So you're going to put some glue. Is that straight? No. Or my paper's not straight, is what it is. So you want to make sure, if you're using single-sided paper, like I am, that you don't see any of the white pieces, because that will completely throw you off. Okay? Now, what you can also do is you can decorate these. Now, I'm not going to decorate mine because, that will take me forever to decorate them right now. I mean, I will eventually decorate them, but I'm not going to right now. So to add them to my back piece, you come in and you decide where you want it. And you make sure it's centered. Like that. Okay? You make sure it's centered. Oops. Okay, so now you have a fun little top flip. Now, you can use your top flips any place in your journal. Okay? You can use them on a different page in your journal. Now, what you do is you label this top flip. Okay? So anywhere in any journal, you can create a top flip. Okay? Now, back here, this is a flip out. This is a flip out pocket. So you're going to label this flip out pocket. Okay, and basically you're going to do this the same way. You're going to put this on the side of your page. And if you don't want it all the way at the bottom, you can scoot it up. I don't usually like mine all the way at the bottom. I like mine up a little bit, like that. And now this would flip out from your page. And you can put them on the inside or the outside or the inside. So it would flip out to your right or your left. And you can round the corners. You can make your divots bigger. Any way you want to do them. So you flip this down. Now, let's attach this in our book. Now, to attach these inside panels to your book, I know I haven't sewed in any signatures yet. Don't panic. I'm going to. You can use double-faced tape. You can use your glues. Now, I'm just using my art glitter glue. You can use your tacky glue. You can use your Fabri-Tac. You can use Bearly Art Glue. You can use whatever type of glue works best for you. The glue stick, if you're going to use a glue stick, I would use your Scotch glue stick. I think that would probably be about the strongest glue stick. that I would use, because these need to definitely stay down. Now, you could even put both of these on one page. You could put a flip out going this way if you wanted, and you could have a flip up if you wanted. I love to make pages like that. And when we go to make our folio journal, oh yeah, you'll be amazed at all the stuff we put on one page. Now, on either of these, you can add more pockets. You can add more little tiny flips. You can do whatever you choose. Okay. Now, I am making sure that I'm lining this up with the edge of my book. And I'm not worried about this inside part. I just want this lined up with the edge of my book, because my centerpiece, this is going to cover up my edges. See, it's going to cover it up. Anything that I didn't get to the middle, I'm not worried about. It's going to cover it up. Okay? So I'm not worried about that. I just want my edges covered up. Okay, so now I'm going to put this piece in. This piece needs to match these two pieces. Now, this is only if you're doing this with paper or you don't want your fabric to wrap around. If you're using fabric that you want to wrap around, and most fabric does, then you don't do your book this way. You do your book like we did in the previous video. So if you haven't watched the video of making my planner, you need to go watch that video, because that video uses fabric, and that's the way you need to do the fabric. This is how you do paper. Now, I am not going to glue down the middle, because that's going to get sewn. I am just going to glue on the edges. And I don't want to try to sew through glue, because it is extremely messy. But I'm going to glue down the edges, and I'm going to glue across the bottom here and across the top. Okay. Now I want to line this up so it's centered. And it's straight, which is the biggest thing you need to do. And then take this, and you need to lift up and make sure that this all goes down. Now, I'm making sure that it's going into the edge of my book. And I'm doing the same over here. So I'm going to lift up this side. And see what I'm doing here? Now, if I didn't get glue far enough out, and it doesn't look like I did, I can add some. I can just squirt some in there. Like that. But you want to make sure that this gets down into the seam of your book, like that. See how it's down into the seam of my book. Now, if you've missed any on the top edge or down here on the bottom edge, you can come back and you can get it. Okay, so now you're thinking to yourself, how in the world is she going to see those holes? That was why I punched them through before I did anything else. I went through and I made sure I could see them on this side. Otherwise, I'd be screwed. Sorry, didn't mean to use that word, but you know what I mean. So now I'm going to take my awl and I'm very gently going to poke a hole. Where'd my book go? Here it is. I'm going to put my book here and I'm going to lay this down so it's flat. And I'm going to poke a hole right through there. Just like that. So that I can see where I'm going with my needle. Just like that. And then I'm going to turn it over. And look, I got holes. Whoop-de-doo, whoop-de-doo. Now, I can take my awl and poke back and make them just a smidgen bigger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, because I'm poking through, oops, get back up there, big guy. Because I'm going through paper here, there's number 3, 4. Now, because I'm punching through paper, I can add to these I might already have some. Let me see if I have those little, let me just show you what I mean. So you want to take your 1/2-inch paper punch. Okay, you want to punch some holes. Or you want to punch some, you don't want to punch some holes. You want to punch some circles. And then you want to take your paper punch. Punch some holes. And these might be too big. I think they are. They're too big. So you're going to need a smaller one. Because I'm covering them up. Yeah, these are too big. A 1/2 inch is too big. So you're going to need smaller than a 1/2 inch to cover these up. And I don't have smaller than a 1/2 inch. So if you have smaller than a 1/2 inch that you can cover those up. Wait a minute, I might. Hold on just a minute. Let me see if I have some smaller ones. Hold on. Okay, nope, must have used them. Sorry, I bumped the camera. Okay, so if you have the ones like, you know, you get from a not a sporting goods store, you know, it'll come to my brain. You know where I'm talking about. You know, I know you know. Then you could probably reinforce these if you wanted. But I think mine are going to be okay. You could even put washi tape over them if you wanted. You could put some washi tape across it. But I think mine are going to be fine because they're going straight through the book. And they're not going to tear. So let's sew in our signatures. I'm going to use a dark colored floss. Mine is there's my needles. Here are my signatures. I don't need this, so let's put this back over here. Mine is the waxed. Now I'm not going to decorate the end of my waxed floss at all, because now you could, you know, if you wanted, you could, you know, that would be another idea for your book. You could, you know, do the middle of one of them. Now, I'm cutting off about 3 times the length, which is, as we know, we don't normally need, but that's just a habit that I have. So it's normally what I do. Okay, so I've cut off, I think, all that I need. If I need more, it's sitting right here next to me. Okay, so you start from the back, choose the needle that you want, and you don't want a needle that's huge. Like, I don't want this needle because that's going to make the holes too big. And okay, so these needles are the same size. I don't want those. And that one's about the same size. But I do want a needle that has a blunt end. Can you see that blunt end? So that one's not bad. Let me grab the other set of needles here. Hold on. Let me show you the difference. Okay, so these are the choices of needles. Now, these are really small, and these would work. So these needles that you could choose from. So as you can see, these eyes are small. Okay, but these have a sharp point. Now, these would be good if you're sewing through things like leather or something that's really thick. But these you need to be cautious with because you don't want to split this. You don't want to split it. And by splitting, I mean when you come back through the center hole, all this is woven. This is woven like, think of twine, where it's twisted. You don't want to twist, you don't want to split through the fibers because then you can't make this tight. You want something that has a blunt end. Okay, so when you choose your needle, choose something that has a blunt end. You're less likely to do what's called split your thread. Now, something like this would work if you had something that was really thick, like a really thick piece of fabric or a quilted piece of fabric that you had to get through, something like that, because this is really long and this is sharp. Now, again, you would have to be really careful. So your choice of needle at this point is really important. So take a look at your needles before you choose one and choose the one that's most appropriate for what you're sewing your signatures into. Don't just grab the first one that you see. Now, the one I've chosen is one of the shorter ones, but it has a blunt end, but it has a little bit wider of an eye so that my thread will go through it. So it goes through it easily, so I know that this won't shred as it goes through there. Okay, so I always start with the back signature. So let's move these out of the way. Let's move the scissors because we're not going to need those right this moment. Let me sit down here. And if you know which signature you want in the back, that always makes it easy. Now, let me take a little sip of tea. So, put your signatures in the order that you want them, okay? So, I think I want this one in the back. So I'm going to take it apart and I'm going to put this here and I'm going to open it up and I'm going to put my needle right through the center and right through the center hole. Okay. Now you need to remember where your top is. Just like any other journal, you need to remember where your top is. And at this point, I know I have an envelope in here, so that's going to help me remember where my top is. Now, you're wondering to yourself, why did she put an envelope in an idea journal? Because I might make a really nice tag that I want to remember how I made it. So I put an envelope in a couple of them so that I could remember if I made small pieces of ephemera, how I made those pieces. because I might not want them to get lost, and I could put them in that envelope. Okay, so I'm coming up through the bottom. Okay, and I'm going all the way up to the top hole. I'm doing the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, just like I always do. Okay, right there. And I'm going right through the top hole. Okay, now we're going to come back in through the center hole. Oh, and look, had I not turned the book over, I would not have known I came out the wrong hole. So I need to take my thread off and pull this back out. Now, you put your thread back in your needle. And let's do that top hole again, shall we? Let's do that top hole again. It goes in that hole. Now, let's make sure it's in the right hole. Oh, that feels better. There we go. That's better. And now we're going to go in this hole. Now, let's make sure that we don't split that thread. There we go. Okay. Now, once we get in, we can take the clip off of our thread. Ouch! We can take the clip off of our threads, and we can we can kind of even them up here a little bit. Okay. And once they sound similar to a guitar string, hear it? Then you can tie them. Now, let's make sure I've got it right. Okay, they're all in the right hole, so we're good. Okay. Boy, I sure am glad we checked that. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that right this minute. No, you know what? Actually, I'm not, because it's going to get in my way. Let's get it out of the way here. And let's just put that in the trash. Okay. The next one is going to be this one. And it's going to go right down here in this second row. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to open it to the center. And I'm going to paper clip it. Okay. Now, let me get my needle. And we're going to go right through the center. Okay, now before we put it in, let's make sure we're going the right way. Okay, there's my envelope, and it opens the right direction. Now, if you're putting an envelope in your signatures and you want it covered before you sew it in, now's the time. Before you sew in your signatures, now's the time to do it. I decided not to cover mine. I want to leave mine right now. I might cover it later as, you know, something. Now, I'm going to do mine the other direction since I'm coming in the top hole as my second hole. Since I did this backwards the last time, I want to make sure I get this straight. Okay, now I'm going all the way to the bottom. I wanted to make sure I went in the right top hole. There we go. That's better. Now, flip your book over. Make sure you're lined up. Before you go back through center, make sure you're lined up. Now, There's my needle. Now let's get it back through that center hole. There it is. Okay, pull it through. Make sure it sounds like a guitar. And then tie it off. Okay. Oops, I think I want this one next. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. Except I think I want to use a big one on this. Go all the way to the middle. Now, there's my envelope, and it's going the right direction. Now, your pages in your idea book are no different than pages in any other journal. They can be all scrapbook paper, they can be watercolor paper, they can be coffee dyed paper, they can be any type of paper you want, because you're going to cover them with ideas from all the creators that you watch. And then you're going to label those with the labels telling you where you got those ideas. And I'm going to show you my other book, how I do some of them. In our, I'll show you in our next video how I label mine on some of my pockets. So you can see how I label some of my pockets. Okay, now I'm flipping it over, and I'm coming right back through center. Okay, if there's any other, anything else, now our next video that we're going to have out is going to be on pockets. And I'll show you how I label my pockets for my idea book. And then if you choose, you can put some of your pockets in your idea book. Okay, and now for the last one. Here's my last one. And I'll show you that way you don't forget how to make them. Oops. Okay, where's the middle? There it is. Okay, now let's find a... Okay, we're good. Okay. Whoops, a doodles, get back here. through the bottom hole. Okay, and I'm always checking the back side to make sure I'm not trying to put it through the wrong hole, because at this point you still can. You can still try to put it through the wrong hole. That's, yeah, see, I'm trying to put that through a hole that's already been used, and I need to make sure that I don't do that. And now I'm trying to put it through. There it is. Okay. Now, see, now let me show you what I mean by splitting the thread, because this is what I did. Okay, right here. Do you see right here? Let me find my little pointy tool here. Right here, where I split that thread. Can you see that right there? Where it's coming through the thread, not next to it, right there. That is the split thread that I'm talking about. Now, if I tried to, I know it's tiny, but it can get bigger if you try to split the thread even bigger. That's the beginning of it. And if I were to try and tighten this thread, it would shred it even more. So that's what you need to be careful of. And when I pulled this through, my needle caught that edge of it. So even those small edges will do that. Even those blunt-eyed needles will do that. So you just need to be careful when you come back through that center hole, because it will catch it. And then you're not able to tighten it up. If you find that you're not able to tighten it up, like I'm doing now in the middle, that's why. Because you have either split your thread here, or you have got something twisted in one of these other holes. So that's where you need to just pull it out. Just pull the thread out and start all over again. Just quit yanking on it and just pull it out. Okay, so there we go. My idea book is ready to roll. So now I need to cover my front. Oh yeah, it's over here. Okay, so my ink is dry. So I am going to lay this up here. Let's make sure. Yep. Oh, let me take a drink here. Okay, so I'm going to put this right here. And I want this to wrap around the edge of my book like this. Okay? Just like that. And I know it's a little bit too tall. And now that I've got here, I need to, let me grab a, let me see if I have a, oh, I do right here. Let me put this around so I can use my pencil. Right there. I'm going to use my pencil. Let's make sure it's where I want it to be. I'm going to use my pencil. Let me get a sharper point here. And I'm just following where it's a little bit too big. right there. Okay. And I am just going to use my scissors and trim this. Okay. Now, we are going to start. I'm going to put that pin up there so I don't lose it. We're going to start right here on the spine. Okay, so I want to put right here across the bottom. And I want to go right up the spine. Come on, big guy. Come on. You can do it. There you go. I had confidence in you. My room's a little cold today. It's snowing again. Did y'all expect me to say anything else? Oh my goodness, it just does not want to come out. Where's the little card go? I guess I'm using my fingers. Okay. Oh, there it is right there. Okay, so I'm lining it up here on the edges. And I am wrapping it. Now, because I am gluing the spine, that will keep any of my signatures from pulling through. They can't go anywhere now. And I will be putting my big rubber bands around the book so that it has an opportunity to dry. Now, I'm going to glue the back here. And I do have a bigger bottle I might need to use if this isn't going to cooperate. Okay. There we go. Now let's spread this out. Make sure we get this all the way down there. Now, you can decorate the outside of your book any way you want to decorate it. You just have some fun. It's your book. I mean, it's a journal, so you have some fun. You decorate it. You have some fun with it. There. That's why I chose this paper. I've never used this paper before, and I thought, oh, I want to use this fun paper. I have never used it before. Now, I'm going to use this because I think it's going to come out quicker. Ah, there's the card. And I thought, I want to use this. I have never used it. It has been sitting in that paper pad now for 3 years. I think I need to fill my bottle. There we go. Now that was better. Thank you for cooperating. Now, we're going to need some more, aren't we? You stink. Whew, the odor. I do like the adhesion of this, but oh my gracious. If you have an issue with strong odors, this is not the glue for you. Well, in quantity, this glue is very strong. If you have to use a large quantity of it. Small quantities, it is not bad. Large quantities with what I'm doing right now, it's really bad. When I make custom books, I use this exclusively, and I can go through a whole bottle of it when I do customs, and whew, I have to turn a fan on in my room. All right, let's get this cleaned up. Oh my. Oh, I think my bottle bubbled again. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe that was the problem. My bottle broke. Well, I think you're going to have to go back in the big bottle. I think that's the problem. Yep. I think my bottle broke. Okay. There we go. There's our cover. Right there. Now that's kind of fun. Let's get this wiped off. Oh my gracious, now I got stuff everywhere. Well, it's not helping that I laid the card on there, is it? All right, we'll get that all cleaned up. Let's stand that in there until it dries. And I will take care of a broken bottle. Yeah, we'll take care of that. All righty. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining me today, creating our idea book and having some fun, having some ooey gluey fun. So I will add my little rubber band around it. I'll actually add a couple of them. So everything stays glued and stays in place overnight so that it has a chance to dry. And then we'll take a look through. So we've got our cover. We've got a flip up that we're going to be labeling. We have a flip out. That's a pocket right here. This is a pocket. Right here. This is a pocket. And then we have 4 signatures in our idea book that is going to be ready to fill with all kinds of fun ideas. And that will be what we do next. So I want to thank you guys for joining me and having some fun with me. And until I see you the next time, don't forget, you can like, you can leave me a comment, you can share, and let's see if we can't get this up to 800 subscribers. Wouldn't that be excited? I would be so excited and so thankful to have 800 subscribers. Oh my goodness, that was like a dream. Just a dream. I just can't imagine. So let's see what we can do. So until I see you again in my next video, ta-ta for now.